Well, people, if you're anything like me, you may be dragging on this Monday, but the great thing is, it's a short week. Let's get this party started. Welcome in, welcome in. It's the Fan from the Stands podcast. Today is February 17th, 2025. We got a huge week of Lufkin Panther sports baseball, basketball, soccer, softball, you name it, we've got it. The rundown for today is Lufkin soccer results from the weekend, as well as the softball results from the Turf Classic, Lufkin basketball news and playoffs, and our head baseball coach on for an interview. Lufkin girls soccer fall to Jacksonville 0-6. Lufkin boys drop a close decision 2-0 against Jacksonville. They still remain in the playoff hunt in soccer. Lady Pack softball starts out 4-0 in the season with the Turf Classic wins over Silsbee, Huntsville, Fort Bend, Elkins, and Groveton. Basketball news, 7th grade basketball. If you didn't know, one district. They made their way down to the Houston Middle School District Championships between Houston and Beaumont schools that happened over the weekend. They won a couple of games, made it all the way to the quarterfinals, competing with these schools. Unfortunately, fallen in the quarterfinals. So the future for Lufkin Panther basketball looks bright. Again, basketball takes on Melissa tomorrow in a huge basketball playoff matchup. Melissa's got one of the top recruits. We've got one of the top recruits. Bring your popcorn, people. It's going to be a great game. It's going to be a thriller. Really excited about tomorrow. Make your way down to Athens if you can't. It'll be live streamed with Jam Media. Our next segment, we got our head baseball coach, John Cobb, talking about the season and what's going on with Lufkin baseball. All right, I'm here with head baseball coach John Cobb of the Lufkin ISD baseball team. Appreciate you coming on the podcast, Coach.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. How'd we do in that scrimmage today?
Well, this was our sixth and final scrimmage. We've had 5 previous scrimmages that I thought we did really, really well in. Today's scrimmage, I didn't think we did very well because we kind of just participated. We went through the motions of it. I don't know if we're just tired of the scrimmage season or what, but it wasn't our finest out.
That was one of the things I was going to ask. When you talk about scrimmages, is that kind of like you're looking to see where kids are at? You kind of play them per inning, that type of thing?
Mainly, I want to see how many at bats we can get. I'm trying to give everybody just as many at bats as possible, and then as many outings for our pitchers. Because I'm trying to figure out, like, I'll give everybody a chance, and I was trying to figure out who's going to pitch on the varsity or who's going to play on the varsity and who's not. We do 6 scrimmages every year, and then we have 2 inter squads before that. So we have the second day that we're able to practice, we'll do an inter squad, and then the next Saturday we'll do an inter squad. Then our scrimmages start. So we were just talking about that our pitchers, every pitcher in our program's got 5 outings up to this point.
Gotcha.
So you got 5 opportunities to prove that you need to be on the varsity. Okay.
Gotcha.
And then our hitters, they've got somewhere between 34 and 40 at bats in that time period.
Gotcha. And how long do you usually these pitchers get an outing?
Most of them go. We try to go 1 inning early in the scrimmages, then 2 innings, and then build on that. We had, like, on Friday night, we went to College Station to scrimmage. Francisco Serrano went 3 innings. Grant Stafford went an inning or 2 innings. Kind of depends on whether we see you as a starter or a closer. Like, we'll start to extend you out. But like Grant got to, I think he got to around 45 pitches. So he didn't even go another inning, where Serrano had 1 quick inning and a long inning, and then we just ran him back out there to extend it. Basically, we're trying to ramp him up, build up stamina for the season to start next week or this week. Hey, it's Thursday, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Well, that goes right into my next question. Anahuac, we got this tournament coming up. Tell us about the teams, maybe some of the competition.
Well, I called. Anahuac's a 3A school, and I called Bridge City to try to get into their week 1 tournament. and he said they were full, and I needed a week one tournament that we could travel on a school bus because they cut our budgets.
Oh, wow.
Lufkin ISD, and so um, they said, "Hey, the Anawak's got a tournament if you want to check with them." And my first thought was like, "No, I don't think we're going to go to Anawak."
Right.
And then the coach from Anawak, Trotter, used to be a double.
Yeah.
He texted me and said, "Hey, we got a spot open if you're looking." I said, "Well, what teams you got?" Because I didn't anticipate us going. And he's like, "Well, you can play Hardin, Jefferson, Lumberton, Beaumont, Westbrook, and then a seeding game." And I was like, "Sign us up. We're coming." Because Hardin Jefferson has a kid going to Oklahoma on the mound that we need to see before district starts.
Gotcha.
Hopefully, we see him Thursday.
Gotcha. Then next week or a couple of weeks, the Pete Reynolds tournament. Who's all in that, and so maybe some of the competition we've got.
For the Pete, we changed it probably. I think it's 4 years ago. We changed the Pete to an old school double elimination bracket tournament.
Yes, sir.
I'm just tired of playing games just to play baseball games and just to get innings in, because that's what our scrimmages are for.
Right.
And so we changed it.
Little lack of competition there.
Yes, that's the thing. And when we changed it, we went to we changed it and went to that old school double elimination bracket, and the intensity of those games, even though they're tournament games, are really good.
Heck yeah.
But it just changes the whole mindset of the kids,
Right.
and that's kind of like what we were aiming for, and just the competition of like, hey, we're playing for something.
Right.
Where most tournaments you just play to participate.
Right.
Kind of like I was so mad today in today's scrimmage. But we'll open up on Thursday morning with Pleasant Grove. Okay. I think they're the number one team in 4A.
Yeah, I was about to say they've had a lot of success over the last few years.
Riley Fincher is the head coach there. He coached in Lufkin for 4 years.
Okay.
We're still really good friends, talk to each other pretty often. College Station is back again. That's College Station High. They're playing Concordia Lutheran. The coach at College Station is one of my best friends also. He's from Huntington, Chris Litton.
Okay, and they've been really good for the last few years as well. Anybody in that area, College Station.
Oh yeah, the whole Brazos Valley area has been really good. But I mean, this tournament is kind of like the who's who.
Right.
You got Concordia Lutheran, who played for the state championship in TAPS last year. John Paul, which is the Concordia Lutheran's out of the Woodlands area, the Tomball area. And then you got John Paul, which is out of Dallas. They're a private school that's really, really good. Huntsville, who we just scrimmaged today, who has finished fourth the last 3 years or 4 years in our district. This year, they've got a chance to win their district.
Oh, wow.
They're really good. And then you got Prosper Rock Hill and Hallsville, who's in our district.
Okay.
So all those teams are coming in for the Pete. Right. Yeah. It should be the best tournament in the state, best 5A tournament in the state for that week 2 tournament series.
And then the Integra Classic.
And then the Integra, we'll open up with New Caney. They're coming back. Hudson, we have a game at Hudson. Hudson and Tyler Legacy will play one game at Hudson on their field. And then we have Nacogdoches and Bullard. And then Seven Lakes and PNG. And we hosted the Integra the last 4 years. This is our 5th year to host it. And we had it set up as an old school bracket, and we liked just a kind of a pool play bracket. And then this year we went to the old school double elimination bracket.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
But you're still guaranteed 4 games.
Gotcha.
Because of the intensity and the like, everybody was up for every game in the Pete.
Right.
And then you kind of go back to the next old bracket, like where you just kind of round robin play.
Right.
It changes the intensity. And that's what I want, because you're trying to replicate a district game.
Right.
And you're getting that atmosphere and that vibe in the dugout and things like that.
Right. So definitely from a coach's perspective, you don't want to go to these games where you're just going through the motions, where you're not competing, and
absolutely
intensity.
And that's why I was that was my whole thing today, is I thought we competed the first 3 games well today in the scrimmage. And then after that, we just kind of existed.
Gotcha.
And I talked to him after the game. I said, that's one of my pet peeves in life with society, is people just exist. Like, you got to stand out. And today you just existed. You didn't do anything to stand out or do anything to make yourself better.
Yes, sir. Coach, you're in your 11th year and you've won over 203 wins. You've had a lot of success. In terms of all the success you've had over the years, what is it? What does it look like, and how do you compete at the highest level year in year out?
Well, one of them we like. One of it is, I guess it's kind of our program culture and the fact that we work our butts off every day. Uh, we have it the way we have it set up right now, and hopefully it doesn't change going forward. But the way we have it set up right now is we start the first day of school. We have an hour and 15-minute class period, so we get to practice for an hour, so 60 minutes of athletic like participation. By the time we get loose and everything, we're down to 50 minutes. But we practice every day starting on the first day of school. And then we lift on Monday, Wednesday after school, and Friday before school in the fall.
Gotcha.
So, like right now, or during this school year in the fall, we're practicing during the athletic period. We're doing our hour of strength and conditioning outside of the athletic period, which the UIL allows now, which was a big change
Right.
2 years ago. And then we play a fall schedule on Tuesdays, basically Tuesdays, and then Thursdays we'll inter squad. And with that, during the fall, we divide our teams up like two equal teams, as equal as possible. And in practice, they'll compete against each other. And then in the fall league that we have, they're playing other teams in that area. And then on Thursdays, they play each other. So they'll play somebody else and they'll play each other on Thursday. And the intensity of it's pretty good. So you basically, and we're trying to see who's going to be on the varsity, who's going to be in the JV, where you're at skill wise, what we need to do to prepare for the spring. So what we'll do is I'll usually go to the away game, like say we're playing one of Hudson's teams. I'll go out there and watch it, and I'll have a student manager video our game here. Well, I get to watch the Hudson game, and then the next day I'll watch the game that we played here, and we'll figure out like what we messed up, what we screwed up on.
Gotcha.
And we'll go back and we'll fix that in practice.
Gotcha.
We try to fix all the problems and get everything going. Or we say, hey, this kid's struggling on the pitch that's no way. We're going to go into practice, and all you're going to work on is that. We're just going to try to fix that problem. And I think the last couple of years, having a field on campus as compared to Morris Freight, and then having a turf field on campus has been a huge advantage for us.
Yes, sir. Well, I remember hearing an interview from Coach McManus. He talked about that, going to the middle school and how much time y'all waste. Now, just having it on campus is a huge plus.
Yes, it's a huge advantage. I mean, just having it on campus, one, but two, you don't have to travel across town. And I talked to Coach McManus a couple of weeks ago, and he brought up the fact that from the first day of school to the last day of school, it's right over 6 weeks that we gain by not having to travel to Morris Frank or have to travel to the middle of town to the middle school. Like we gain 6 weeks of longer practice because we're not having that travel time. And you think about it, that's a dude.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a report card or grading semester in my eyes.
Yes, sir. That's awesome. You talked a little about it earlier. Your success is you want people to be competitive and go out there and give their best every day. Talk in terms of identity. When you think of who you want the team every year in and out, what is it? What do you want the team to look like, and other team to look at Lufkin baseball?
I want my team to be the most competitive team on the field. Okay, I think our talent isn't as strong and as deep as some of the 5As that are in the city. But what we lack in that, we lack in kind of competitive toughness, is what I call it. We do in November in our off season, like after our fall season's over, in the month of November, we'll do we call it our competition aspect of it. And we do these like 9 different games, and we do it twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And we post all the standings and everything of like what team is winning, what individual is like 3-0 or 4-0 or whatever else, and we crown a competition champion.
Heck yeah.
And so the competition part of it is like you can teach that.
Right.
Because I don't think very many people are competitive as what they used to be
right.
back when we were growing up.
For sure.
But like you can teach the competitive part of it. Like we do those little games, and I'll give you an example. Was last year Austin Lindsay, who's pitching at Hill Junior College in Hillsboro, he was our competition champ. Okay. Well, he was also one of our best pitchers throughout the course of the year.
Right.
And basically, at the end of the year, we had a 1A, 1B, and 1C pitcher. We didn't have a 1, 2, and 3. We just had 3 really good guys. We ran out there. And through the first 2 rounds of the playoffs, we swept the first 2 rounds, and Austin Lindsay hadn't pitched.
Right.
And he wasn't real happy with me. Like he was mad at me. Okay. And I'm like, hey, if we lose game 1, you are throwing game 2. Well, I said, our season's on the line. We're going to run our competition champion out there.
Right.
And we go to, I don't know if you were there, but we played in Boulder. We played 40 in Boulder.
Yeah.
And it was a hostile environment. Their crowd and their student section was losing their minds.
Yes, sir.
And they got an A&M commit on the mound.
Yes, sir. I remember that.
And it was not it was a hostile environment. But that's the way playoff baseball should be.
Yes, sir.
And he went out there and just shoved.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is him being the competition champion, because we built that up.
Yes, sir.
Him being super competitive to where it carried him in the moment.
Right.
And that's kind of how we're trying to get all of our kids.
Yes, sir.
Like I can give you another example. Because we're not picked to make the playoffs this year.
Gotcha.
But the group that we have right now are working their butts off, and they're super competitive with each other.
Right.
So they're trying to outwork each other, and they're trying to outdo each other. And I told them on Saturday morning, which might backfire on me, that they were really good at working their butts off, but the competition amongst each other is really good, that they needed to keep it up. And if they would keep that up, you don't have to worry about missing class.
For sure. And I think that's the thing, Coach Cobb, is like, I mean, I'm 35 years old. What I see in kids is if there are certain times they didn't want to go play just for the competitiveness, and that's something that you talked about it. We grew up. It didn't matter what it was. Where we're going to compete. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's costing somebody or nobody's going to see us. We're going to go compete.
Yes.
But
I've even got a 9-year-old daughter, and she's about as strong-willed as I am. And she's not. She plays soccer and volleyball, and she's terrible in both of them. And we shoot some archery. She did that at a church camp, and we shoot BB guns or whatever. But she's not very good at it. But she is super competitive. Like I've installed that in her, the competitiveness about it, and she'll talk a little smack.
Yeah.
And I'm divorced, and her mother was picking her up the other day, and we're having one of our little things where we're going back and forth about competition, and her mother had never seen that in her. And I was like, that's how she is when it's game time, like it's go time. Like, yeah, that's my daughter. Like, she's going to be competitive. I can promise you that.
Yeah.
So I just love her for it, though.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Although she is terrible at everything.
So this year, you talked a little bit about, the team. They're not expected to be as competitive. We lost a lot of talent from last year's team. A lot of talent from last year's team. But talk a little bit about some players we need to look forward to this season.
Well, we'll hit on some of the returning starters. You got Francisco Serrano at first base.
Right.
And he's going to play some third base also. We got Jace Camp coming back, who's our third baseman. And then you got Grant Stafford, who's a shortstop. He kind of was a utility guy last year. He'll be at shortstop. And then we've got Jack Bowers, who was a DH. He'll catch some. And then kind of we've got some new people in those positions. But those are kind of our returning starters. The reason we're not picked to make the playoffs is we lost most of our pitching.
Right.
And I don't blame people for not picking us that.
Right.
But you got those guys coming back. We've got probably going to start a freshman in left field, Sam Fitzgerald. And then you got Jaden Tamez, who played right field for us. We moved him over to center field. He's super athletic and going to be our leadoff hitter. Then we have Ryan Rasmussen, who's a senior, being right, along with Demario Rodriguez. And then we got Max Slayton at second. He's a sophomore. And then we got Damian Diaz at first base and DH for when if Camp has to pitch, Serrano goes plays third, or if Stafford pitches, Slayton moves over to shortstop, Camp goes to short second, and Serrano moves to third, and Diaz moves to first. And then we got another sophomore catcher, Skylar Perez, who's going to have to catch also because there's 3 weeks in our district schedule till we play 4 games in 7 days.
Jeez.
So, like, if Bowers is going was to catch every game, he'd be wore out. You know, he'd just be gassed. But by having Perez, we'll be able to keep him fresh and keep let him DH a game or two because we have to have his bat in the lineup.
Right.
You know, and Perez is really good defensively.
Right.
And then some of our pitchers, we got a couple seniors. We got Jackson Cordova. Like, he threw an inning last year against Bullard and threw some innings on the varsity last year. We expect big things out of him. Okay. And then Craig Forkey, he's another one on the mound. And then we'll rotate, or we'll throw in probably 5 other those position players behind them on the mound.
Right.
So they'll probably only have carry about 15 on the varsity this year, just because we have low numbers. And almost all of them would put, I guess, about 5 of them pitch.
Heck yeah.
So we're just gonna run them out there and see what it goes.
Yes, sir. Well, the exciting thing is you talked about, we're a young team. There's a lot of young players, a lot of chance for growth the next couple of years. So that's really exciting.
We'll start at least 5 seniors, depending on who's on the mound too. And then we kind of have a small junior class.
Yeah.
That doesn't have very many. And then the rest of the people are pretty much sophomores and freshmen.
Right.
So depending on how it goes moving forward with our new athletic director and our schedule that we have, like our sophomore and freshman class have a chance to do great things. There's going to be high expectations on them.
Yes, sir. Well, Coach, I really appreciated coming on the show today, and look forward to the season.
Absolutely. Appreciate you having us.
Yes, sir.